Welcome to the Vision Profiles podcast. Join us, three dedicated Apple Vision Pro users, as we dive into everything from hardware and software to apps and the latest updates in the world of Apple Vision Pro. I'm Marty Jencius, a faculty member at Kent State University, podcaster, and an avid Apple Vision product fan.
And I'm Eric Bolden. I'm at -5 degrees. Well, not here, but outside. I work in IT, but my interest is in finding interesting ways to share content. Currently, photography of plants, birds, and panoramic sequences.
And I'm Daniel Burkholder, a software engineer and technologist currently interested in AR, VR technologies, and very cozy at a 43 degrees in Florida.
Aren't people generally complaining when it's 43 degrees in Florida?
Probably. I mean, to be fair, they bust out the UGG boots when it's like 70. And you gotta bust out the hoodie and shorts, right? Like that's pretty much Florida standard uniform when it's cold.
You know, everybody north of Florida is laughing at you when they dress that way. My son was raised in the South. We were all raised. We had a period of time in the South, but it stayed over with him in the sense that he'll wear shorts in really cold weather. You know, he just won't. There's no other way to dress, even in cold weather. So, what do we have any news this week? I mean, we're all facing this cold snap, but any news with Vision Pro, with your use or anything fascinating?
I've been enjoying my Surreal Touch controllers.
Why don't you talk about those? We didn't get to talk about them, and particularly the responsiveness, because mine are enjoying themselves sitting on the table behind me, and I haven't found because I'm not, I don't pull in games that I guess I need to pull in order to use them with. So help me or talk about the Surreal Touch.
Yeah, sure. And then just to recap for anyone who might not be familiar, Surreal Touch was a Kickstarter campaign, and they were making VR controllers for the Vision Pro that are self-tracked with their own cameras inside them. So when did we get them? We got them like basically before the beginning of the year. And they've been working out really good for me. I've played, so you can play games on Steam VR. So you can play Steam VR games with that. And I've been playing some Half-Life Alyx and some Super Hot. Both of which, I mean, they're not like new games. They've been out forever. So I can hear it now. Oh, been able to play that for years. Yeah, whatever. But very fun, working very well. Now, it's a brand new product, and there's not even very many VR controllers out there that are like self-tracked like that. So I don't know how much experience to say, like, as an industry, people have had with it. But in my experience, it doesn't seem to lose tracking. It does occasionally, but I found like I can just kind of wiggle my hand and things kind of reorient, relock in, and get all situated. The fans inside them are frankly kind of loud, which is kind of wild to think that game controllers have fans inside them. But oh well, that's just the world we're living in now in 2025. But once you get started playing a game, it's gone. Like you don't hear it anymore. But I really don't have much else to say because things have just worked. Yes, like I said, is it a little rough around the edges? You can tell that how some things get paired or how you calibrate the triggers is sometimes a little wonky. I had some issues getting there's like side triggers that your middle fingers would be gripping. I had trouble getting those calibrated well, but once doing that, just kind of doing it a few times and some back and forth on the Surreal Touch Discord. I got them working. I'm sure they can, do a software update in the future to make that easier to do or just not need to be calibrated. But once I had it running, I mean, really, it's been good. Um, Cletus, I've been playing Half-Life Alyx and Super Hot so far, and I think I bought a few other games. I went on a buying spree on Steam once I got them. I haven't sought out any Vision Pro specific apps, but I do know that the Surreal Touch team had been giving them out to app devs and SDKs for them to add it. So I don't know when we'll start to see like native Vision Pro games utilizing the controllers, but I bet we will soon. And I think we'll see more from Surreal Touch as well because I've been seeing and hearing some little inklings with all the CES going on the last week, um, and all the new stuff that's been shown. I've seen a lot of discussion from the show floor about Surreal Touch and working with some of the new mixed reality headsets coming out too. So I think we're going to see a lot more from them as well. So I'm feeling really good about it. I don't regret my purchase and they're pretty cool. So Cletus here, if you wanted to see them, you were asking in the chat. Here they are. Whoop, hello. I am pretty confident these are just the exact same chassis mold as the Quest controllers,
Yeah.
given their country of origin. That would not surprise me. But hey, it is what
So,
it is.
Daniel, okay, so I got mine.
Mhm.
And, my assumption, not being a gamer, was okay, this will be something it'll be a piece that I can just kind of pair into my Vision Pro and I can play different games, but instead of my hands, this is now the thing that I'm using. First of all, the setup was not intuitive enough, at least for me, because there's one point where it's saying, I even forget what the action was. Do this, and I kept doing it forever and ever, and then something clicked, and it was like, well, maybe if I do this instead, that's what they mean.
Mhm.
And I did it, and then it seemed to pair one of the controllers with the device. So the pairing was a difficult for me to do. And then it was like, okay, I got one paired. Now let me see if I can get the other one paired. And it just did not seem to respond or react at all. So I was like,
Mhm.
okay, let me put these things down and let me wait to talk to Daniel about what's going on with these things. But I guess I'm also hearing that I need to have a Steam VR account to sign into it, or how do I get games that I can play with it?
Gotcha. So yeah, the pairing, I had some little hiccups around that too. So just another one of those like kind of rough around the edges. I expect
Yeah.
them they'll improve, hopefully. And I just like tried it a few times and then they paired up fine. Um, but yeah, so outside of any native Vision Pro games that support those controllers, which I don't know of any yet, um, if otherwise you use them as VR controllers on PC VR games. So they have a client called Surreal Link, and you get both the Vision Pro app and the desktop app. Um, and then you get them paired up with, I think it's just like a pin code on your network. You pair them up. Um, and then once it's hooked up, as far as your computer is concerned, you have a Steam VR compatible VR headset connected to it. It's emulating, I think it's emulating a Quest. At least it is
Mhm.
for the controllers. Um, so then you can just play any Steam VR game on the PC.
So it doesn't have to be a PC, or can I do it with a Mac?
Um, that's a great question that I have
All
not
right,
explored.
I will have to.
Yeah, I should try that out sometime and see. Um, I my initial guess would be maybe not, but I haven't looked. I've personally just assumed like gaming on Mac, whatever. I have my little computer on the side that I consider as just the gamer box, and my Macs for everything else. So I kind of block that Mac gaming on Mac out of my mind. It might exist. I'm not sure though, off the top of my head.
So what you're telling me is I'm going to have to pull that PC out of my closet and get it set up and go through a whole bunch of process to play these games
Maybe just a
until
little
somebody
bit.
decides to make them, you know, attach games to them on Vision Pro.
Yep. Yep. Um, Yeah, and so like I said, I'll keep in touch on the Surreal Touch Discord, and I'll put a link to that in the podcast Discord as
Yeah,
well, because they're pretty responsive over there in terms of troubleshooting, and that community is pretty active.
yeah. So I'm going to put a link in at least to the controllers and into the show notes. And Daniel, you're fine. You're okay with putting anything in there that you might be helpful in the current show notes, and we'll get that into production when the show comes out in both audio and video. You should be able to find some information in there, at least to start you along the route with these Surreal Touch and controllers. Eric, any comments on that? Or
Not on that specifically, but I had a comment. There was a beta for something called Moonlight, which is supposed to be a Sunshine and NVIDIA game stream client. And I didn't know if you had done anything with it or you knew what it was.
Yeah, Moonlight. Big fan of Moonlight. I use that. Well, actually, you need to link me what you just saw because they're so. Well, before I get into the weirdness, um, they're not the same. So that if you've heard of Steam Link to do game streaming, like on your local network, like off your PC to your TV, um,
Mhm.
it's that but better. It higher quality, a better codecs, everything. So Sunshine is the streaming client you'd put on your PC that is going to stream the desktop, and you could just stream your desktop. I will often just do my desktop, and then Moonlight is the receiver end, the client end.
Ah.
And then, of course, so that's how I've been playing Elden Ring in the Vision Pro. I've been using Sunshine and Moonlight, where then I pair my Xbox controller to the Vision Pro, and then it just sends that input off through Moonlight. And then, of course, I get the video stream. Um, but yeah, so if there is a new Moonlight uh, test flight out, because there was one that the dev had forked and it was working for a while, and then he kind of ghosted everybody. Then somebody else kind of brought it back, and then there was a second fork of it. So and now the first fork is I just went there today. It's expired, so I don't know where it's at now in the world. But yeah, there isn't there, at least to my knowledge, there is not a native Vision Pro version on the App Store yet, but there is an iPad version. But the native one is so much better if you can get into test flight.
All right, I will send you info.
so it's great that you're talking about this, and we'll return to it as the weeks go on and as you learn more about the using Surreal Touch controllers or any other kind of controllers. We'll just make sure to have an opportunity to talk about that during the episodes that you're with us, because it's still a mystery to me. I want to turn them on. I want them to work. I want them to play with whatever I'm going to play with. I want to do my Excel spreadsheets with them.
Yeah.
I just I just want them to work. And my first attempt, I really struggle with getting the Bluetooth to recognize them. And I did hear the fan sounds though. That was pretty weird to hold those things and then you feel a little vibration and go, "Oh, is that really the fan sounds?" So we'll put some links in the show notes. I see you guys are already working on a few of them. That's great. Not much in news this week. There is a developer beta, VisionOS 2.3.3 that came out. But from the notes that are available with those, there doesn't seem to be much that is really being impacted by doing that, by using that. So I don't know. I don't know if there's anything that you can see in there in the notes about it. So basically, it talks about things that we talked about in the 2.3.2 release, but it basically says that they've been resolved. So nothing really hidden in the keys to explain what's new with this 2.3.3. Any comments, guys?
I'm staying away from the betas right now.
Yeah, I know.
kind of same here as well.
Well,
I'm enjoying the stability.
And I still
There's
need to go
nothing
to Apple about my audio pod noises.
you still have to, you haven't resolved the audio thing?
Yeah, I still haven't gone. I just been busy, and I wanted to do it after the holidays, but
Yeah.
I need to go record that video sometime and head over there.
Yeah, and God knows the weather is so cold in Florida right now that
I know it's just
makes
brutal.
it difficult to get out. Okay, so not much known about the or to comment on. I'm not having any problems with the beta, but I realize Eric doesn't want to do it because things are stable, and Daniel is trying to still resolve a problem with his AirPods, so you don't want to muck it up with that. But I just have not seen anything remarkably new. But if the next version comes out and something remarkable happens, I'm not going to tell you.
Mm.
Just not going to tell you. Yeah.
Well, I figure if I'm beta testing Colossal Cave, it's better for me not to be using a beta, because then it's too many betas.
Yeah. Something.
And now that it's not making me sick when I turn around, yeah, it's a bonus.
I want to switch to so we're done with the betas for now. We're done with talking about the betas for now. I don't know if they're going to be going on to taking it out of beta at some point soon, because it doesn't seem like anything they're doing is of great consequence. I want to switch to an article. Well, actually, it was a video that is pretty cool, and it talks about the use of a Vision Pro headset to help with personal mobility and wheelchair situations. So I am going to probably try and play this without sound so our viewers can have it. And while I'm playing it, maybe you can comment on this idea that this was something that was at CES, and this guy went to CES. I think there was the intention of him being sort of a test pilot for this wheelchair that can be controlled through the use of a connection with the Vision Pro. And apparently lots of accessibility stuff going on at CES from what he's talking about.
I really liked the backup camera on that wheelchair. I don't know why they didn't start putting those on chairs a long time ago. It was brilliant.
Let's see if we can get to that.
I just wish that they would mirror the backup camera into the Apple Vision. That would have been a nice touch.
Is it not? Because he was talking about how did he know it had a backup camera then to use it?
Well, it's down by his hand.
Oh,
So I'm assuming
okay.
he could just look down at it, but maybe there's something in there and I just missed it. but that
Yeah.
would seem the obvious
I
thing to put in there.
I love this though. This is awesome. I mean, an eye-controlled wheelchair, and for the listeners, this man is in a wheelchair. He has no well, he has no hands, and he's able to pilot this wheelchair with his eyes with the Vision Pro, and I mean that's awesome. And apparently, it also has the backup camera, and it also has like this glide mode where it won't collide with objects or people. Just really cool to see. I'm thrilled.
Well,
Yeah,
and I like the idea that you're taking advantage of all of the stuff built into the Vision Pro. There's no way they could ever afford to put that into a chair. So having a ready-made device and then add an app and an interface is just brilliant.
yeah, it's pretty remarkable. And apparently, he says that there were a lot of accessibility stuff that was going on at CES, and I think that's kind of a cool video. We have a link to the video, and I think I might have found it first on Reddit or a connection through Reddit, but I got the YouTube video on with it, so you might want to take a look at that. Let's go to another option here, if I can get to the article. The idea that Apple Vision Pro, 5 Apple Vision Pro issues, reports of spontaneous cracking and more piling up, is the article we're talking about and looking at. And this is on Microsoft Network. So Microsoft's talking about it, which I find interesting. And it's a long article. And of course, it talks about the price, and it talks about some of the other things that have happened, how it's only an early adopter. And they talk about how they're protected, and then they just notice a crack.
Yeah, it seems like Crackgate has returned. And now that I think about it, it seems, you know, it happened in the initial months of the device, and I wonder if there was a lot of discussion that it could be temperature related, especially the temperature changes. That's why when you were talking about taking it outside to take some photos of the frozen boiling water, I was like, I don't know if I want to take it out with that temperature differential, and perhaps crack it. So maybe there is something more to the temperature difference being a reason. But to be fair, this guy, at least the one they feature in the article, he said he hadn't used it for days, so it had just been sitting there. So that kind of rules that out some. But also linked in there was a lot of other discussion about audio issues, and I've been seeing a lot of other issues around audio as well. Some just having no audio, some crackly or staticky noises. So it's making me look a little more sane with the issues I've been having, but mine's extremely subtle compared to just no sound at all, like some people have been reporting. So
Yeah, the other things they're reporting are frustrating, and this is coming. Gathered this data from Reddit, I guess, or at least that's what the article says. It's focused on. These are the complaints with Redditors: eye tracking issues, poor light performance, the difficulty to track inputs in such conditions, and glare issues that happen as a result of in the Vision Pro. So those are the concerns that people are bringing up with it.
I mean, they're seeming to have to actually go to some effort to find examples. I mean, so it's not like it's a huge percentage of devices. Yeah, I'm sympathize with the people who have the problem. In many cases, Apple seems to have just taken care of it. But as you found, Daniel, it might take a while to figure out how to describe it in a way where they can do something about it. Definitely, if you're doing things where you need really good hand tracking, you need decent light. You cannot do that in low light. It works, but it's not fast.
Yeah. We have some folks in the chat room, and I'm curious if they've had any experiences, well, obviously with Crackgate, but any other kinds of concerns that they have that have been mentioned thus far as Reddit. Gary Witt's in there in a very cold Oklahoma, Lake City, Colorado, where it's minus 12. I'm not sure I want to start rattling off weather reports, but I got to mention that one. And then Cletus is in there, and we also have Flood Ready in there. And so I'm curious if there are any new things or concerns that they have, and you can just type them in, and we'll pick it up. Just an interesting article around that. Next article is iOS 19 rumored to feature redesigned camera app inspired by VisionOS. And this person, John Prosser, host of a YouTube channel, Front Page Tech, obtained video of alleged new camera app, but elected to share his own recreated images to protect the sources. The camera controls are split into photo and video categories, the options for recording spatial video, turning on timer for photo, and more. Overall, the new design is a cleaner aesthetic and more with the camera app, with more in line with the camera app's viewfinder. I don't know. The other thing that I'd like to think about is the new design for the camera, where the side button. I'm wondering if there is, the app will help with any side button issues that people are having, because they're really having a difficult time with figuring out how to use that, how to touch, how to depress, how to get haptic back from it, how to slide it to move across menu items. All of that's turned out to be pretty complicated on the new phone. And so they're taking the design like the VisionOS, at least for the app.
I like the render, and at least whoever made that render, they didn't consider that button, because I'm like, oh yeah, how would that camera button work in that UI? But I'm sure I'll think of something. But if they do redesign the camera app, and if that's any hint as well of what it could look like, I mean, it's due for, I
Yeah.
think, for a revamp. It's pretty cluttered. And yeah, I mean, I think certainly it's fair to expect them to start to have a little more frosted glass kind of styling. We're going back to Windows Vista, everybody.
Yeah,
I'm
the
for it.
image
I
that
like Vista.
the image that Daniel's talking about is an image that was recreated and rendered by the person who got this information, supposedly. And you can find it in the article, and you can find the article in the links to our show notes. So whether you're listening to us on a podcast or watching the video at this time or later, you can find the connection to this article, so you can see what this revisioning is with the app.
Well, I have to say that I've been doing more recording of spatial video and spatial stills. And there seems to be some case where from the phone, it won't let you record spatial video. And I haven't totally figured out what the pattern is, because you can still do a still. There's plenty of
Yeah.
space. I think it has to do with you've taken a bunch of images and it's in the process of uploading them to iCloud and doesn't finish, and then you go in the middle of nowhere and are trying to take a picture, then all of a sudden the video doesn't work.
Huh.
But I'm going to have to wait until another day when I'm freezing outside, and I will give it a try.
So your hypothesis there is that because it hasn't figured out how much you're loading, it just knows that it is loading previous documents. It's not going to allow you to do something that might be storage or memory expansive. That would be something like starting a video. So until all that's done in terms of
That's
upload,
what,
it
yeah.
can't kind of assess what's left in the bucket for them to be able to do the video.
Yeah, it feels like a bug. You know, either somebody made an assumption that that process wouldn't take very long, and so you could just wait for it to finish, or something like that. But whatever it is, it's in a mode where for a short while you can't record anything. Well, other than stills, you can't do video. So, which
Yeah. There's a few articles that came out. We'll highlight one here about Apple expected to launch 20 plus products this year. Here's the full list. I put this one up, and people are talking about what is Apple going to do this year. This one comes from Mac Rumors, and they pretty much say, here's our predictions of what will come out when. You don't see anything about Vision Pro until late 2025 or 2026. No surprise there. Looking at the other ones, kind of thinking this could be a pretty big wish list to imagine that Apple's working on new product versions of all of this, and they're going to roll it out during the first half and second half of the year. That's a lot. The ones they're unsure about is a new smart home hub. Although I just saw a recent post on that about the smart home hub. Mac Pro with the M4 Ultra chip and the iPad Pro with the M5 chip. And then Apple Vision Pro with the M5 chip. You know, iPad Pro was just updated with the M4 last year. And now we're waiting on the Airs, which I think they have listed in the first half. MacBook Air models with M4 chip. So it doesn't really say a lot. It just kind of speaks to what Mac Rumors thinks is going to be the layout of what might be coming.
Kind of par for
So
the course, except this
yeah,
rumored home hub thing, which honestly I'm still extremely skeptical about.
I hate to say it, that's the thing I'm probably most excited about.
Okay, let me revise, because I do like home automation stuff and anything to bring, if the rumors are true, I guess I'm being a little jaded, to be fair. Because I feel like those kind of home appliances have just been a massive dud. I mean, is anybody really super thrilled about having Alexa or Google Home?
I
Would we
have
get it
them.
again?
Nah, see, here's my excitement about it, Daniel. I want a larger, dumber iPad. I want a large screen that I can hang on the wall in the kitchen, that I can say, I can do a touchpad with it, and maybe it's celled up like an old Microsoft phone where I can hit certain cells and get the information I need. Or maybe I just want to run a movie, you know, while I'm in there cooking, or play music. I mean, I guess I could be using any other device for that. But, to have a touch screen that's available, and I see it as the beginning of a product line. So first they come out with one that's, it's nice. And eventually that moves to the kids' room, when the other models come out that have more of the stuff that I want or more of the stuff that people are going to use. It's not a TV, but it could do Apple TV Plus shows and different kinds of streaming, whatever room I'm in.
Yeah, I think for me the hardest part is how can they differentiate this from an iPad on a mount?
I
And maybe
don't,
that's all it is.
yeah, or it's diced up like an ice cube and you hit what information you want and it brings it up.
And there was rumors of some that would be on a motorized arm that could turn and face itself to
Oh,
you, kind of like those older
that's,
iMacs.
yeah, that's
Which,
just Big Bang Theory. That's somebody
okay,
who's,
but remember, I think Meta might have made it, or Amazon made an Alexa that would look and turn at you. So I mean, there's a bit of precedence for that. I would be for it, but yeah, I would be excited to see an Apple take, and I'm open to an Apple take of those. And I am definitely jaded by Home Assistants, just period.
oh, yeah, I did. Oh, Home Assistants, like the S
Well,
Lady
also
and
Home
the,
Assistant,
yeah.
the application as well. While it's the best of the worst, I literally have a screen of it right now on my other monitor. But yeah, I have love-hate relationship with that piece of software too. But
Oh yeah, I've
yeah,
given up on it basically. I just,
I
every
I
time
don't blame you.
something changes, I have to refix it and reset it up. And I don't want, that software is not helping me. So it's not, I just don't use it, which is why I don't have an automated household for a variety of reasons. But the idea that I could get other information, Gurn in the chat room was saying, like for grocery lists and recipes, etc. Um, and Flood Ready has some examples of, you want a Microsoft, you want an M5, the ultimate computer, at least 21 inches. I want that too. Let's all pray to make the Trek gods make this happen. I stick my iPad on the fridge magnetically. Gurn does that.
I got it.
So,
I remember growing up, my grandparents had like a radio or something that was mounted under the cabinet, and like it could kind of
oh yeah,
slide out with some controls and stuff. iPad.
yeah,
That would
yeah. I
actually be
kind of
See,
cool. That'd be very cool.
see. I wouldn't mind it on the wall because then I could like do pictures, and those pictures could rotate
Oh yeah,
through.
that's it. Could be
I,
yeah, a
I've
little
Yeah, I mean,
frame.
we have one of those. We have one of those. God, what is it called? It's a picture frame. It's automated. It has a calendar in it. You can have your family put pictures in it. Skylight.
Hmm.
We have a skylight, and we got it primarily for the calendar, so our kids could tell us now what days do we have to come over and let your dog out. But I would like to see it more. I'd like to see something from Apple, not only having that capability, but also some more functionality. Um, so, man, we're really going down the ditch in a lot of different ways.
I
But I
do
guess
that.
that's okay.
see, I'm waiting for the cameras to come out, and then whatever that device is would have an interface to control the cameras, so that it could tell whether it's you that's walking up to the door and ignore it and not record anything, or somebody else.
Oh, yeah,
That
I've
would be
got
a
mine.
really nice Apple Intelligence thing to put a check mark
Yeah.
on.
Yeah, I've got mine set up, and we live at the end of a cul-de-sac, and it manages to catch any car that comes through the cul-de-sac and triggers my phone. And it's I also have a camera in the back, and if the tree breeze waves a tree limb, it says that there's movement in them. And I'm just about ready to shut them all off. Turn it on at night maybe, but yeah. So let's get back to tasks here because I think this is pretty cool. We're actually going to talk about this app later on. MoviePass made a film trailer app for the Oculus Quest and Apple Vision Pro. Um, So you can watch trailers and you can watch them in sort of a cinematic view, which is cool. Have you all loaded this on yet?
Mm-hmm.
What's your
And it works.
impression? It works?
It works pretty well. My biggest problem is forgetting I have it. Kind of like with the Apple one
Hmm.
for looking at previews. I can't remember. I believe was it this one or was there another one where you could watch a sequence of trailers? I don't remember now. But at any rate, it does what it says it's supposed to do. The trailers come up. There were a couple I actually wanted to see the trailer, so it was convenient, and I didn't have to go wading through IMDb to go find it. And yeah, so it was good.
I'm kind of old school. I like trailers, and it's most often my son and I that will meet from different parts of town at a movie theater to watch it. And I'm like, show up at this time. This is when the movie starts. Let's get there. And I'll say a few minutes early because I want to get in there. I want to sit down and I want to experience Maria Menounos, and I want to experience all the trailers that happen after that. Yeah, and the
Yeah.
Eminem time clock thing, time bomb thing. But I want to watch the trailers. And my son always shows up and he's like, "Oh, I'm going to get in line and get some popcorn." And it's like, but the ticket's on my phone. So I have to wait for you to get your popcorn and I'm missing my trailers. I'm going to love this. That was my point of the story. I'm going to love this.
Yeah, and they're nice quality too.
Yeah.
So
Okay, for those of you who are Super Bowl freaks, we have an article 9 to 5 Mac. Again, all of these will be in the show notes, in the video and also in the audio portion of the show. How to stream the 2025 Super Bowl in 4K for free on any Apple device. I generally, by the time Super Bowl rolls around, I don't care about who's in it and I don't care about what the score is. And I wind up doing something else. I might have to check this out just to see what the experience is with it. And it's going to include the Kendrick Lamar's halftime show through the Tubi app.
as long as
But
it
in
has all the commercials.
4K.
That'd be nice.
Yeah. Yeah. Guys, are either you Super Bowl watchers or Super Bowl party
No.
goers? Yeah.
I get my popcorn out. I watch all the commercials. I watch the halftime show. There's other stuff that goes on.
Oh, I watch the commercials, but generally it's either the day before or the day after when they've rated them, and I can watch all of them in one sitting and not have to watch the game. But
That's the
Tubi's got it.
challenge, being able to sit down and watch it, at the moments that it comes up.
We're coming to the end of what we have in terms of articles. This one is an article that I just found interesting, and we talked a little bit about this in Touch with iOS.
Okay.
Vision Pro? Why Vision Pro is Apple's best reason to yet bring back Touch ID to the phone? I
That
heard
makes no
us.
sense to me.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
This guy really wants it though. And here's the part of the article that got me right here. I'll admit that I'm a new Vision Pro owner. So maybe this is just a problem of rewiring my brain to stop reaching for my phone. Did they edit that?
I don't know. I use my phone a lot, so. But
No,
then I have a watch.
he in the article he said specifically, well, I've had the Vision Pro for about a week or less, and he's making all these connections. So I wonder if they did an edit on that. That was my big concern about it, was should he be making these connections when he hasn't spent enough time with the device itself to make these kind of connections? But everybody's got to have a dream.
Well, I mean, it makes sense because a lot of people use their phones a lot, for two-factor authentication, for, looking at notices. There's a lot of stuff that comes in across my phone, and my phone locks right away. You pick it up and it's locked. The reason Face ID was so great is because you could pick it up, not have to touch anything, and it just shows you the information. So as soon as you put on the Vision Pro, it's like when people were wearing masks everywhere. All of a sudden, Face ID didn't work, and everyone who had Touch ID was laughing at us. Then they fixed it so you could use the watch to wake up the phone. Now I don't notice it at all.
Yeah.
It's a tiny bit
Maybe the
slower.
author isn't as versed in the ecosystem as well. I'll maybe give him that, because
Yeah.
any of us with Apple Watch and a Mac, right? You're enjoying proximity-based unlock if you have your watch on. So, and actually also
But
your
it doesn't.
phone, I believe, as well.
Yeah. But the Vision Pro doesn't unlock your phone.
Yeah, but now, but I can't
At least
imagine
not
there will
yet.
not be a software update at some point where it, because there's no way it won't be able to know that you are holding and looking at your phone, and then it's
Yep.
either because it knows you are wearing the thing and holding your phone, either just unlock it or prompt an optic ID unlock, just as it would do on your watch to your Mac.
Yep.
That's I will guarantee that's coming at some point. There's no way it would not. It's just wild. And actually, also to unlock the Mac as well. Actually, that would be nice.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah, I just don't know what to think about the article. It just seemed like it was reaching in a lot of cases. And I really do remember him saying, well, to be honest with you, I've had it for a weekend. And that line got changed to, I haven't been a Vision Pro user very long. So it just seemed weird when I read it. Here is again our weekly article on comparing Vision Pro to MetaQuest 3. This is coming out of MSN, Microsoft, and surprise, the person who wrote this article discovered that Meta 3 is a better gaming device, but really can't do entertainment very well. They talk about best streaming services and all connected very well on Apple, but not on Quest 3. And then Quest even lost its Netflix app. I didn't know that. And the best you can do is basically some YouTube streaming and poorly developed Prime Video, Amazon Prime Video, and YouTube apps. But the great gaming, you appreciate the horsepower in Vision Pro. Talks about eye-hand coordinators, and then the productivity in the Vision Pro was incredible. You could do all this productive stuff. So yeah, it seems like clickbait. Of course, nothing I'm clicking here makes me want to buy stuff. So
Yeah.
Did they
Except
mention how much
I
it
have.
costs?
Yes, but they did it
oh
in
yeah,
a unique way because they did it twice.
Hmm.
The first time was the $3,000 more, but the second time they talk about the optical inserts being half the cost of a Meta Quest. So I give them that. I hadn't heard that way of doing the comparison.
So if you've got bad eyes, how does it help you with a Meta Quest that you're not doing some adjustments? I mean,
I who
you
knows?
can do glasses. You can do glasses in them. They have a glasses insert, at least in one of the previous
Yeah.
versions of the Meta. But
I think what they're trying to say is not only is it $3,000 more, but if you wear glasses, you have to pay an additional $150, and that's half the cost of a MetaQuest. So you might as well just get a MetaQuest or something like that. I don't know.
yeah,
Didn't make total sense, but they did
yeah,
manage to get cost in there twice, so I give them bonus points.
yeah. So you save money, but still can't do spreadsheets.
Right.
Yeah. And surprise, surprise, don't expect Vision Pro 2 in 2025. This guy must be on Team Gurman, because Team Gurman said, we're not going to get a Vision Pro 2 in 2025. We're going to get Vision Pro Lite in 2025. Whereas Ming-Chi Kuo Team Ming-Chi Kuo is saying we're going to get the Vision Pro 2 in 20. They're geared up for it. So this one comes out of Mac Observer, and it's under a minute to read for good reason. There's not a lot there, but it is another people lining up. Yeah, he's quoting Mark Gurman in the Power On newsletter.
For the record, I'm Team Gurman.
You're Team Gurman? Yeah.
Yeah.
I think of it as Twilight. Wow, Daniel, it took you that long to get that? And we got a face palm out of Eric, too.
It's been a long time since I've been in high school.
Okay, so some news
I'm
here.
just imagining.
This is from our chat room. And it's on a screen, so you get to see the side of my head when I'm reading what's in the chat room. Sorry, folks. Would like to be able to. Gurn says he'd like to be able to control the iPhone mirrored to the Vision Pro. Cletus would like that too. Gary Witt says it's crazy that you can't answer a phone call while in the Vision Pro. Can you answer FaceTime calls? I'd assume you could answer FaceTime.
Probably.
Because you can make FaceTime
I think
calls
so.
with it. Yeah.
And I'm going to assume a FaceTime audio call would ring it as well.
Yeah. And Gurn mentions that Zenny makes inserts for the Meta Quest. So you can get in optical inserts if you want. Thanks for putting that information in and letting me share it with viewers and listeners. It's nice when we have, and it seems like our watch room is getting more and more active, and I like that. I also like seeing them having conversation amongst themselves in it, because that's just very cool. This doesn't stop Phone Arena from saying Apple Vision Pro release date, expectations, price estimates, and upgrades. It's all in here. Everything you need to know. This is what we know so far. It will be upgraded to the Apple M5 processor. It will get Apple Intelligence. And then, they have all these sort of hyperlinked links to the rest of the article, like the release date. Well, we don't know. The price. Well, we don't know. It's got to be cheaper.
But I can guarantee the numbers next to the computer parts will go up.
Yeah.
Instead of M2, it's M5. Number go big.
So yeah, this is from Phone Arena, and yeah, it's another wonderful article to that tune. And if you weren't confused enough, you can always go to Tom's Guide, because Tom's Guide this week will tell you that Apple is working on two different Vision Pro headsets, Vision Pro 2 and a cheaper model. So they're cutting it right down the middle. They're not hedging any bets. They're putting money on Team Gurman and Team Ming Chi Kuo. You know, and Vision Pro 2 unlikely to launch until 2026, so they're pulling that from Gurman's statement. But they're working on another model. And guess what? They quote Tim Cook as admitting that the Vision Pro is not a widely appealing product. You know, that statement sounds like he's not happy with the product versus it doesn't have wide appeal because of it is more of a niche and early adopter. Yeah, well, it goes on to say right now it's an early adopter product.
I mean, all of the headsets are still, in my opinion, even no
Yeah.
matter how well refined they are, it's still pretty niche. And the threshold to get somebody to wear something like that on their face is pretty high. It's relatively low for us because we're nerds, but it's still pretty high compared to other kinds of tech
Yeah.
that we might be considering to buy.
And we've heard this before. Apple is also working on other devices similar to the Meta Ray-Ban smart glasses, which can shoot video and answer a few questions. That is and photos too. That's the extent of how smart those glasses are. But those might not launch until 2026, 2027. Well, folks, it's a reason to stay healthy. To see what comes up next.
Yeah.
Okay, let's talk about some apps. And I had one in there that I pulled out that we'll maybe get to next week. It's an interesting app called Talking Heads. And I haven't had a chance I got the test pilot on it, but haven't had a chance to put it on my headset to play with it. So maybe we'll talk about it next time. But we've got some apps, that we've already mentioned right here with MoviePass Screening Room.
And we actually covered most of what I wanted to talk about. It looks like they get regular updates. So, as new movies are released and there are new previews available, they come out, get added in. Quality is pretty good on all of them. You don't have to kind of watch a whole bunch trying to find the one that's good quality. So it's a little easier than searching through YouTube. So, yeah, it does what it's supposed to. It gets updates.
Okay.
Overall, I'm pretty happy with it. It works.
Well, then let's go to the second app that we've got in our Gears and Goo.
So have you played this one yet?
No, I've been busy
No.
doing house nurse for the day.
So it's an interesting app. If you can get past the premise and what you're telling everybody to do, the resolution on it is good, the graphics are decent, it's kind of interesting. Every once in a while I hit a problem where I couldn't quite figure out how to get a control to work, and it's because they were trying to give instructions and you had to hit OK to go to the next step, and I wasn't looking in the right spot. There was a section where to kind of move the gaming table around, You use your thumb and middle finger, not thumb and first finger, which was kind of nice because you don't move it around by accident. But I kept just assuming and didn't read the instructions. It took me a minute to realize it was different fingers to move things. Um, I had some issues with the kind of the assumptions you had to make to play the game, which was there's this planet that doesn't have anyone advanced enough to complain, and you go in and you're going to strip all of the resources from this planet down to nothing. But somebody else gets there first and blows up the planet. So they're pieces of planet. So you're in more of a rush to strip all the resources, and you've got workers. And as long as you never let your workers rest, sleep, or do anything else, and you make them work as fast as possible and attack the other people, then you get all the resources. Not
So
quite
this is
entirely sure what that's telling people to do, but the game graphics are good.
so this is part of Apple Arcade. So as it says here at the top, play over 200 games, no ads, no in-app purchases. So
Yeah.
if you have Apple Arcade, then this is free. I'm trying to
And
see if
basically, for some reason today, I was looking for distractions that would not have anything about current events.
yeah, that's what Antique Roadshow is for. I was
So
I was
that's why
trying
I was
to
playing this,
yeah, I was
it
trying to
was
avoid everything
good.
I could, and PBS had Antique Roadshow, and I'm like, they're definitely going to be not going to be talking about current events there. Um,
So it was between movie previews followed by this game. The graphics really were good. Moving the table around, I liked the way they did it. It was easy to rotate. It didn't interfere when you were trying to do stuff with other controls. The only one issue I had is I moved the game table too close to me, and then I couldn't grab the controller, so I had to like move a little bit to get to it. But I it was good. Um, it's worth trying.
yeah,
Yeah.
and I downloaded it. I just haven't gotten to it. I put the headset on this afternoon for a short period of time to see what new apps might be out there. And went to MoviePass, and then I looked in the notes and saw you'd already put something in MoviePass. Saw Gears and Goo, and saw you had put something in there already. Um, we have been had a very active chat room talking about um, the Talking Head one, and I guess Gurn has been doing that game or been playing with that. I think the new one that is in test flight allows for multiple heads to talk to each other. So the demo they have on it shows Edison and Gandhi. I'll have to get into it just because it looks it looks like this Futurama, with the heads in the jars. The heads kind of pop
Ah,
up, and then and it's just a head. The person in Reddit said, "Are you going to maybe try to connect the rest of the body to it, or is it always going to be?" It's not Persona like, it's like 3D heads of Gandhi and Edison. You can ask him to tell you jokes. You can. I asked who does your hair. I think that was to Albert Einstein. So Gurn's been playing with it. That's cool to see with it. Let's go to the last one, or at least the last piece, which you had mentioned, which was just arcade game room.
yeah. And they had other games in there, but what I was really looking for was solitaire.
Ah,
And in some ways almost too complicated, but once I got used to it, it was nice to have the feel of a table with some cards as opposed to what I usually play on my phone.
Yeah.
And you can move the cards around, and it does what it's supposed to do. And it used up a whole pile of time where nothing else was happening, and I had no other distractions. So it did its job.
Daniel, do you ever play these kind of games?
No, and I'm not an Apple Arcade subscriber. I've already got too many subscriptions.
Well, I get it with the Apple One, and supposedly
yeah.
going to throw some more things with it. I have the Apple One sort of family, everything at the buffet. And I don't go into arcade that much, but if I have to, I don't have to think about it because it's there. But I was just curious if you ever played those kinds of games other than the ones that you talk about, connected to Steam and PC. These are basically old table games. I think I'm going to continue to avoid what's in the media for a good long time. Eric and I we found out we both listen to the same podcast, and it's a political podcast, and the hosts of that podcast have agreed not to talk anything about current events that have occurred today in terms of the politics. And so I listened to him today on the way to the surgery with my wife because I knew it was a inauguration free zone on the podcast. So,
Okay.
And I haven't watched all the parties and all the sucking up and stuff that's going on. So I've got to get back to Apple TV Plus. I have to finish, and I've probably got 4 or 5 more shows of season 1 of Severance. Daniel, do you do Apple TV?
I have other ways of getting television shows to watch.
So
My
the answer to
partner
that question is yes.
Severance and Silo, I believe. So yeah. Unofficially. No, I haven't been watching those, but I've heard they've been good. The only thing I've been watching, I've been watching some old stuff. We've been grinding through Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
Yeah. My wife loves that show. It's I think Silo, I read somewhere that Silo season 2 is gonna wrap soon. I don't know if anybody in the chat room's watching Silo. How many more weeks do they have before the season 2 wraps? I haven't even started season 2 yet, which is okay. I've got other things going on, but it's I'll get to look forward to it. And there was some chatter on one podcast I heard where it sounds like there's some really cool stuff going in there with Silo. And it reminded me, well, I need to start season 2 and get back into it. So I think that's a wrap for tonight. Really want to thank the folks in the chat room. And having them along for this whole process is always great. You can follow the live stream on youtube.com/@visionprofiles on Monday nights at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, or catch the video later on YouTube or the audio on any podcatcher service. You can connect to the show if you want to connect with us. You can send us messages, I think, through YouTube. You can also go to the podtalk.net and find ways to connect to us through that and the other shows that we do. Thank you for tuning in. We'd love to hear from our listeners. If you have any ideas and want to join in an episode, email us at visionprofilespodcast@gmail.com or connect to us through the podtalk.net website. Our bumper music is Free Jazzy by Steve Combs, courtesy of the Free Music Archive. Any final words from either of you guys?
No.
Well, Daniel, stay above freezing. That's all I can say. Learn more about Vision Profiles podcast at our website, thepodtalk.net, with all the other available podcasts. Spread the word to other visionaries. Thanks to the chat room. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time.